Move on this time to a different story. And US President Donald Trump has threatened to impose tariffs on countries that do not support the United States' claim to Greenland. He emphasized the island's importance for US national security, particularly for missile defense and military operations. Trump, who has been vocal about the need for the US to control Greenland, said tariffs could be used as leverage. The US is also in talks with NATO regarding the island's strategic significance in countering Russian and Chinese activity in the Arctic. Meanwhile, Denmark's Major General Søren Andersen said that military exercises in Greenland focus on countering Russian threats, not US concerns. NATO has invited the US to participate in military drills in the region, with tensions continuing to rise over Greenland's future. Let's listen in to what President Trump had to say on the issue once again.
And I may do that for Greenland too. I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland, because we need Greenland for national security. So I may do that. I'll give you a little, I'll take you out of that. In fact, that'll end up being the story. But actually, this is a much bigger story because we're reducing healthcare by numbers that you haven't seen.
Of course, this ongoing saga continues to unravel. We have now have NATO troops stationed on the world's largest island. We have US lawmakers, bipartisan, may I add, visiting Denmark to show support and opposition against Donald Trump's plan to annex this territory. David, how do you see this developing? Of course, we've had diplomatic meetings with J.D. Vance and the foreign ministers of Greenland and Denmark. How is this looking? Of course, we've had also diplomatic engagements, but seemingly no change, no compromise. The rhetoric remains the same.
There is no more possibility of Russia or China occupying Greenland than of them occupying Florida. Greenland is protected by NATO, the largest, most successful military alliance in the history of the world. And any action by Russia or China against Greenland, and there's no indication they're plotting such a thing, according to the Greenlanders and the Danish government. But if that were the case, NATO would have the duty to defend Greenland. This is about Donald Trump's lust for power on one part, his belief that he runs the whole world, and secondly, his effort to get people onto every possible issue except the Epstein files, less than 1% of which have been released, despite Congress passing a law with almost unanimous support to release all of the files, which would establish whether Donald Trump is or is not a serial child rapist. That's what he's trying to avoid here. So this notion that the U.S. needs to take Greenland is absurd. We already have a treaty from the 1950s. We have a right to have military bases there. He could staff up those military bases, but with NATO's obligations to protect Greenland to no danger, there is a danger to NATO. If Trump tries to take NATO, Greenland, that would be the end of NATO, and boy, would that make Vladimir Putin a happy man.
Yeah, and of course he has threatened to place these tariffs on people that don't support him. We've seen many European countries come out against, with a nicely worded letter, may I add, to the United States. However, is there any countries or any individuals, any leaders that do indeed support these plans and the US's right to annex Greenland?
Thomas, that's a very good question. I have not seen any news report of someone speaking up on behalf of Trump on this issue. And by the way, let me be clear, under the American Constitution, the president has no authority to impose tariffs. That is the exclusive right of Congress. In fact, it is the very reason that Americans live in the Second American Republic under the Constitution, because the First American Republic in the 1700s lacked the power to tax. And eventually the Supreme Court is going to shut down Trump's tariffs, which are simply a tyrannical move that has no legal basis. And everyone who's been paying the tariffs, unless they're foolish, has been simultaneously filing for a refund.
David K. Johnston, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much for taking the time. We now move on, and President Donald Trump